Welcome everybody to this month's edition of the FinCrime Connection, brought to you by Jade ThirdEye. My name is Jamie Muir. I'm the head of the customer success team, and today I'm joined by Colin Dixon, who's our CAM certified AML Solution Specialist. This month we'll be covering off three different subjects: the release of the new AML CTF rules in Australia. We'll look at the fine imposed on Revolut, and we'll talk about some information available from the ANZ FIU. So, Colin, in Australia, the much anticipated publication of the rules has occurred. We won't go into the specific details, but what is the high-level message around these changes?
Yeah, the rules, they're a complete overhaul to align with the recently amended AML CTF Act. AUSTRAC says that the new rules have an emphasis on setting up systems to mitigate MLTF risks and aligning the laws with global best practices. There's a shift from a text box compliance model to a risk-based, outcomes-focused framework. So aligning to global best practices is important in light of the upcoming FATF mutual evaluation. And in particular, they cover the introduction of the Tranche 2 entities into the regime. So whilst that introduction of Tranche 2 entities is the highlight of the changes, there are many changes that apply to existing entities. So everyone needs to be on top of the changes that affect them.
Okay, nice one. And what is the key advice that you would give people at this point?
So my key advice is to read and understand the Act and the rules together and determine how they affect your business. And if you're unable to do that yourselves, then seek advice from an external advisor. There's already lots of articles, blogs, webinars, meetings, etc., that discuss the changes and their impact. And AUSTRAC will be publishing guidance in October and then more targeted assistance following that for Tranche 2 reporting entities. So this is all great information to help you prepare for the changes. However, it's all generalized information for all reporting entities or possibly just those in your specific sector. So what an advisor will help you with is how the changes affect your specific business and what you need to do to set up a new AML CTF program or to address the changes in your existing program. So our role at Jade ThirdEye is not to advise you on what you need to do for your program, but we're here to talk to you and your advisor and to provide the tools and the expertise to implement some of those changes.
Nice one. And we know the rules take effect from the 31st of March, 2026 for existing reporting entities, and then from the 1st of July for Tranche 2 reporting entities.
Yeah, that's right. That's the date for compliance with the new rules. AUSTRAC has signalled that they don't expect perfect compliance by those dates. However, they do expect you to be well on the way to full compliance and have a plan for completion. You can expect them to come down hard on you if you've made no attempt to comply. So those dates, they're not far away. Whilst there's more guidance coming and there's enough information available now to be working towards what you need to do by that due date. So in short, the message is there's a lot to do. Don't delay.
Okay, good stuff. So let's just switch gears now. Our next story is around the fine that was handed to Revolut by AUSTRAC for late FTE submission. So Colin, can you tell us a bit more about that?
Well, yes. So the regulations are clear that IFTIs must be reported within 10 working days of the date of the transaction. So Revolut, they self-disclosed that they'd failed to meet that IFTI submission 10-day limit. So in the notification of the fine on the AUSTRAC website, the CEO, Brendan Thomas, said, "We take late reporting seriously because timely reports are critical to help us detect and disrupt financial crime, to strike while the iron is hot."
So at a glance, the 187,000 may not seem like a significant fine for a company the size of Revolut and their growth that's been seen over the past few years, but the consequences go far beyond the dollar value.
Yeah, it's not really a large penalty, and that's probably because Revolut self-disclosed, and they've put in place processes to submit the late reports and fix their controls to avoid repeat failures. In general, the size of the fine isn't the only concern. Bigger concerns often reputational damage. So how do you put a dollar figure on that? It's difficult to tell how your clients or prospective clients will react to such news. If they choose not to use your services, that could end up being a much larger dollar value than the fine itself. There's also all that extra work and cost that you have to do to remediate the situation.
I think that's a very good point, and it's a timely reminder to anybody that the 10-day working limit, or 10 working days, I should say, is a hard limit. And you should have a good process in place to reach that limit. It's probably also key to understand that if you're on top of your FTE reporting, it's not hard to essentially report within the first few days, if not the full 10th day limit.
Yeah, that's right. So let's move on and look at something in New Zealand. So I've been looking at some of the news on the New Zealand FIU website.
Okay, so what's new in New Zealand?
Well, it's not so much about what's new, but making the most of what's already available. So the FIU website has a wealth of valuable resources. They're under FIU reports, and it's information that can help you better understand the risks, strengthen your ability to detect and report financial crime. There's a link to their national risk assessment, which you should be aware of. And there's also the most recent reports. They call them cash reports. Now, that's a bit of a misnomer because they don't just deal with cash. However, they do address current topics. And in particular, they explain the relevance of those topics. There's also a much older reports, but they still provide good information about typologies. So we often talk about the changes in the financial crime landscape and about how criminals are modifying their approaches. But there's a lot that stays the same. So take, for example, there's a 2013 report on commingling with business revenue. So commingling, it's still relevant today. So it's still worth reading that report. So whilst this information is aimed at New Zealand reporting entities, because it's from the New Zealand site, there's still a lot of useful information for reporting entities from any country. And I'm sure that I can say that same about information provided by other countries or organisations such as the FATF. The methods of laundering money, financing terrorism and proliferation, they're not confined to one country. Whilst there may be some local specifics, the methods are largely global.
And I think that's a great reminder of, although some threats evolve and there are new threats coming in, there's those others that remain constant and need to be continuously monitored. And those reports definitely 100% a good shout, and they definitely sharpen your awareness and strengthen the ability to detect and report financial crime.
Yeah, that's right. So that if we go back to the key purpose of the regime, it's to detect and report financial crimes. And getting a better understanding of the risks that your business faces, it's a key step to making the regime work better for your business, for your clients, and for your country.
100%. Well, thank you, Colin, for your time. And that's it for this month's edition of the FinCrime Connection, brought to you by Jade ThirdEye. You can find everything about what we've discussed today on our website with the blog that's going to relate to this episode. As always, please provide any feedback, questions. We'd love to hear from you. And we'll be back next month with updates and insights on financial crime. So we'll see you then.
Bye for now.